Hello everyone, hello Americans, New Yorkers, drivers, how are you doing? Today I am going to talk about the top electric vehicles to use for Uber and LYFT. Now I am going to base this, again, if you haven't seen my videos before, upon my area here in New York State. I'm about 70 miles north of New York City. So I'm in the area called the Hudson Valley. So I am going to base this on my area as well as the New York City area and the Albany area. Okay. I gave this a lot of thought. I really did. But I can honestly tell you, whether you want to buy new, used, or very used, I can honestly tell you from the research I've done and working in this area for rideshare, I don't recommend any electric vehicle. And I will give you the reasons why. One, these things are outrageously expensive. And two, because the federal government and the state government here in New York is giving you tax rebates to get these things. That tells you how crap these things are. I'm sorry, but they're just flawed. Again, speaking from my area, the federal government gives you a $7,500 tax rebate if you buy a new electric vehicle, plus they give you $1,000 for getting a charging station. Here in the state of New York, you can get a $2,000 tax rebate. And if you want to buy used, the federal government will still give you $4,000 to buy a used electric vehicle. So there's one reason. If the federal government is trying to get these things on the road, it's probably not good for you. Two, we have this thing in New York. It's called winter. And winter takes its life on these car batteries. From about the middle of November till maybe the first week of April, it is a concern. How long will the charge last? How long can the charge last? How long do you need the charger for? Is the infrastructure really there? And if you live in New York City, it isn't there. What's the problem with New York City? Even though they try to make these cars for New York City to reduce the so-called pollution, carbon emission things, most people live in apartments, condos, co-ops, townhouses, where they can't put a charging station on their parking spot. Even if you own a private house in New York City, the space in front of your house is on a public street, so anyone can park in front of your house. So even if you do put one there, if your space is not available, it's not getting charged. And that's why EV sales are very low in New York City. Now the top selling models around here from the visual is definitely a Tesla. The Model 3 and the Model Y, as well as Long Island, New York, Nassau and Suffolk County. In fact, the top 5 selling EV vehicles in New York are the Model 3, the Model Y from Tesla, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. I'm sorry, but I hate putting an EV and the Mustang name together. Kia EV6 is a very popular choice, and right up at number 5, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. But if you live in the suburbs and you are a local commuter, an EV could work for you on a personal level. Now the advantages to an EV are, one, boy, these things are fast off the line. The torque is amazing. That I cannot lie. 2, if you love a quiet ride, man, you're going to love this. 2, 3, if you love having an iPad instead of your console to control the whole car, boy, you're really going to love this thing until the update doesn't go through. And I had a 4th one for you. Now, regardless. But to put them charging stations in your garage or by your house, I don't want it. But for Uber and Lyft, I don't think it's a good thing. Because for one thing, in my area, I don't know about your area, but in this area, Uber, you drive blind. When you get over from Uber, you do not know the starting address, you do not know the ending address, you don't even know the upfront fare. Lyft is the exact opposite. The problem with that is, for every one Lyft offer I get about 12 Ubers, because Uber is such a big company and they do so many things. Like Uber Eats, packages, groceries, they pretty much almost do it all. So you're going to get more offers with Uber. And here's the thing with Uber, if you get a long trip, usually around here they'll tell you hopefully 45 minutes plus. Now, I can honestly tell you, I've gotten 45 minutes trips that didn't tell me it was a long trip. I had a trip to Connecticut, an hour and a half each way. And this was early afternoon. Now, if you start in the wee hours of the morning like I do, and you get that offer, and you can't do it because you have no charge, is that going to hurt your cancellation rate? Or even if you do make it out there, can you get to a charging station quick enough to charge? And how long are you going to wait there? I had another trip 3 weeks ago going to Pasadena, New Jersey. Again, late in the afternoon. Now, if you've been driving all day like I was, do you have enough charge to do something like that? Or at least get down there and charge down there? And do you want to spend your time in Paterson, New Jersey charging a vehicle? I'm sorry, it's not tempting. 2 days before Christmas, I had a 3.5-hour trip into Pennsylvania. I definitely, if that had been my only trip, I definitely would have had to spend time there charging it up. This is an issue. I'm sorry, it is. It's something you just cannot ignore. Now, you always ignore all long rides, but as I just told you, sometimes Uber doesn't tell you it's a long ride. And again, it's just going to hurt your cancellation rate. So to spend all this ridiculous money, even with the rebates, for a vehicle that's that flawed, I'm sorry, it's not worth it. Now, maybe if Uber did some upfront pricing and addresses, I could make the case to maybe get a used one. But for rideshare purposes, there's no way I'm touching this. Sorry. I think if you're going to do delivery for food and groceries, I think you could buy one that's about, I don't know how long EV's been around now. I think Tesla started making cars in 2008. If you want to buy one that old to do deliveries, or maybe Amazon Flex, that may work for you. And if you do Amazon Flex in the wee hours like I do, a quiet engine like that does come in handy. But again, try doing that in the middle of the winter when it's cold. Your battery life may die. So there's always something to think about. So that is what I think about EVs for doing Uber and Lyft. I think anything, you can make the case for delivery, a much older one, and get a $4,000 rebate from the federal government. That would be worth it, maybe, if you're going to strictly use that vehicle just to do your gig work. Walmart Spark, Amazon Flex, DoorDash, whatever, shipped. That may work. A dedicated vehicle. But for rideshare in this area, there is no way I would even consider it. Now, if I was going to pick a vehicle to do rideshare. What would I choose? I think if anything, I think I would go with the Ford Mustang Mach-E or the Hyundai Ioniq 5 because the dealership network for these companies are very big. Ford is everywhere. Hyundai is not as big as Ford, but they're enough in the area where you don't have to worry about it. Tesla models, I think there's only about 180 stores across the country because they call them stores and galleries. They don't refer to them as showrooms. I think the nearest one for me is about 40 miles. Now, if something seriously goes wrong, do I really want to have to drag my car 40 miles down here? I got a Ford dealer under 10 miles from here. I have a Hyundai dealer about the same. So to me, the dealership network when I buy a car is a big deal. And I'm sure one day if Tesla continues growing, and I can see why people do like those cars. They are cool to look at. They are quiet. The torque is awesome. But compared to a gas engine, these cars are just seriously flawed for me. Comments down below what you'd like to know. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Did I get it wrong for my area? What's your area like? Does this work for you in your area? Tell me where you're from. And we'll talk to you later.